Look, I think it's been a great tournament. You know, you have a look at the kids here. There's some great kids. Really interesting, some very good bottom age kids here, which usually the bottom age kids don't have too much of an impact in a tournament. You know, sometimes you get one or two, but this one, I think there's more bottom age kids here having an impact in the tournament than I've seen for a long time. It's really encouraging.
Yeah. If you could, I guess, pinpoint a couple of things that might have defined the competition, and obviously we're still going, but that might have defined the competition this year, what would you say they were across the board?
Look, I think the biggest thing with this, I think the level of the competition has raised a little bit across the board. It's probably more even. There's a number of teams here. What's interesting this year is I think the pool we were in seemed to be a little bit stronger than the other pool. But you don't know until you get to the crossovers to see if that's actually the case. But I think, as I said, the bottom age kids making an impact have been really good. And the top age kids that have come back, what I have noticed is some of those kids that were pretty tough last year haven't necessarily gone on as far this year. I expected them to probably be a little higher. So that's been quite an interesting concept, trying to see whether they've gone from their development.
Now, focusing on your boys, how do you rate their week thus far?
Let me say, how does a yo-yo grab you? Look, I suppose the biggest thing for us is trying to get that consistency of intensity and level of play, and that's the biggest thing we've had missing this week. We've had some fantastic games, we had one great game, but then we drop away and have another poor one. So trying to enforce that consistency with the kids over a period of a week, that's the most difficult and challenging thing for me. But look, I've been really happy with my guys. They've worked their tails off. There's never been an issue with the effort. It's just the smarts that we've got to get with them.
Did you get a bit of time with them before the tournament? How much time in the lead-up did you have?
Oh, look, we don't get you don't get a huge amount of time. I'm only getting like 1 or 2 sessions a week with them. You get that for an hour and a half. You can only do so much in that time, and that's the problem that you have. And I think most of the coaches are in the same boat. You just don't get the time that you need to spend with them because they have so many other commitments to other teams. So, if you could get the kids for a longer period of time and spend that time with them, I'm sure you'd see a dramatic improve in all the teams. But that's just a challenge that every state has to put up with.
Yeah. Were there any particular kids on your side that may have impressed you a little more than you're expecting?
Yeah, I think there's probably one kid we brought over. We brought over a backup point guard who probably was a bit lucky to make the team, but we kind of looked at him and went, you know what, I think he can give us something that there's no one else around the state that could give us. And coming over here, he has just far exceeded expectation. That's young Nick Bailey, who's just done a great job. We expect more out of the other kids, but he's just done a great job and really been a real punch off the bench for us. The other one is Nick Eliadis, who's only 12 months ago had a knee reconstruction. He was coming away with me last year and blew his knee out a day before we left. So it's been a big, I suppose, mental thing for him to have got back from a knee recon, and then in the first game he did his other knee a little bit, and I think he just was really concerned. But just to see him move and continue on and suddenly start to feel his feet again and find his feet again has been really great, and he's been tough this week for sure.
Great. There's obviously plenty of history and tradition in WA basketball, and a lot of that comes through you as well. Is that something you've spoken to the boys a bit about, and particularly not just for this tournament, but looking to their own future and where they progress? Yeah,
look, it's a hard one. I mean, I try not to go back and you don't like talking about your own stuff or anything like that. I suppose that's probably an unwritten thing. Most of the kids know who I am. Mind you, they're getting a bit. Now I'm getting too old that they don't know who the hell I was. So you got to try and remind them a little bit occasionally, but I don't do that. It's more just getting them to play the way we wanted to play. When we played, when there wasn't all this, fluff and tinsel and all that sort of stuff that's around these days. It's just get out and play hard. I mean, I was just having a chat with Moose for a billiard. Same thing, and we're talking about none of all this fancy stuff when we were playing. It's just get out and play, and trying to instill that into the kids. Just play hard, give us everything you got. That's all we ask, And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. If it is, then that's all we can do. So just trying to teach them as best we can.
Beautiful. All right, thanks very much.
No worries, mate.